In this first video, we are going to learn how to add a book from Logos onto your Kindle to be able to read. First off, we need to download an app called Calibre. I think that's how you say it. It's a free app, and it can convert Microsoft Word documents into a .mobi file, which is the file type the Kindle uses. So all you need to do is follow the on-screen instructions to download Calibre, pick your operating system, and install it on your computer. Now, I already have Calibre installed, so I'm not going to go through this. The next thing is you need to first find your Kindle email address. Amazon has set it up where you can email documents to your Kindle and it will show up there. Now I have several different devices, but the one I'm going to send it here is this one right here. You also need to make sure you have your email address as an approved personal document email address. And all you need to do is add the email here and it'll send you through some on-screen instructions. So I have my brinshaw833@gmail.com email address as approved. So once you've done that, let's go ahead and open up Calibre. And you're going to have some on-screen instructions the first time you open it up. So I'm going to go ahead and run the welcome wizard first. So this first step is going to create a little library on your file system. And so I would just keep it as is. Click next, and then choose your e-reader device. You see they have many different options. They have different types of Kindles. You can make it for your iPad, or if you have a Nook, you can do this. So whichever device you're using, go ahead and choose that. I personally have a Kindle Paperwhite, so I'm going to choose this, and then just click next. Now here is where you want to add your Kindle email address. Now I have already added this into the program, and so you just add your Kindle email address here, and then whatever your personal email address is that you added to the approved email address list, you want to put that here. Now, if you use Gmail or Hotmail, they make it real easy. You just click this Use Gmail, and it'll have you type in your password and email address, and that way that they can send an email through the program to your Kindle from your email address. If not, look up online of how to enter your host name and what port and everything that you need to do. Just click next, and then it should say, congratulations, you have done this correctly. Okay, so now that Calibre is set up, we're now going to go to our Logos app. And so if you're reading a lengthy article or a book on Logos, many times, in my case, I would like to be able to read it on my Kindle because it's easier on your eyes and it's just easier to read. So you can actually export books, articles, any type of file or any type of book from Logos as a PDF or a Microsoft Word document file. So in this case, let's say you are wanting to study some history of interpretation, and you have the Dictionary for Theological Interpretation, and you want to read 4 or 5 articles from this. So what we're going to do is open it up and then figure out which articles you're wanting to read, and then click this icon in this upper left-hand corner, and then print/export, or you can do Command P. So click this, and it'll bring up this screen. And so from here, you can go through and pick which articles you would like to do. So in this case, I've already done this once, but I want to look at the article Patristic Biblical Interpretation. I also want to add the article on allegory. So let me click that. And then maybe one on typology. And then maybe I want to see what they have on Augustine. And so I can click that. So now we have about 4 different articles that we can read. And I mean, this is probably going to be about 20 or 30 pages, or yes, 26 pages worth, which you can read on the computer, but sometimes it's hard to sit in front of a computer and just stare at it and read for long periods of time. So we're going to export this into a new Microsoft Word document. Now, in order to do this, you first need to have Microsoft Word open. So I have Microsoft Word open, and then just click Send to New Document, Microsoft Word. And it should open up, and you have your Word document with all the articles in here. Now, in another video, I'm going to show you how you can just quickly send it to your Kindle. But in this one, I want to show you how to create a working table of contents. This way, when you're on your Kindle, you can click Table of Contents there at the top, and you can go through the book and choose which one you want to read. This makes it a lot easier if you're making a collection of articles that you want to read, or there's a book that you just want to look at different parts. I use this method quite often. It's pretty easy and it doesn't take that long, and I think the payoff is good. So for each heading, I want a table of contents entry. So is what we're going to do, we're going to highlight each heading, and then we're going to click this heading 1 to give it a heading 1 tag. And so this formats it. It may format differently on your computer. Now, so I had allegory, and then I also had an article on Augustine. So I'm just going to search for Augustine until I get to the heading. See right here. And highlight this and click heading 1. Then there's another one, Patristic Biblical Interpretation. It's right here. Heading 1. We also had one on typology. Right here. So this way, in my table of contents on my Kindle, it will show these headings, so I can quickly find the part of the collection of text that I want to go to. So after you've done that, you need to save this document as a .x file. And so I'm just going to save this as Dictionary of Theological Interpretation, Patristic Exegesis Articles. I'm just going to save it on my desktop, but you can save it wherever you would like. Click Save. And now we need to go to Calibrate. And Calibrate allows us to use those heading 1 tags and create a table of contents on your ebook. So go back to Calibrate. And the first step, you want to add the book. And so we're going to add our docx file. Here are my documents. I'm going to double click that, and it's going to add it in here. And now this is just imported it into the library as a docx file, and now we need to convert it into a .mobi file for the Kindle. In order to do that, you can right-click the book you want to do, go to Convert Books, and then Convert Individually. It's going to bring up some of these settings, and now most of these you can mess with them if you want. I usually just leave them the same. On the page setup, you see that it already has the margins right and the correct input profile. So you don't need to mess with anything here. Now on structure detection, since we made our own chapters for our table of contents, we're going to make this as none, the chapter mark as none. That way, when Calibre is creating the .mobi file, it doesn't try to create different chapter entries that we may not want. And then we need to go to table of contents. Now you can try to have it auto-generate a table of contents, but here to get in exactly what we want, we're going to change this level 1 TOC, the XPath expression. Now you don't need to know what XPath is. I'm just going to show you quickly what you need to do. So you want to click this drop-down arrow, or click this wizard right here, and then match HTML tags with tag name. And so since we had a heading 1 tag, we want this H1 tag for the level 1 table of contents. And so that's all you have to do. You don't even have to know what this means. This is just all you have to do. Now let's say you wanted to tag level 2 and level 3 headings. You can also do that and do it the same way, where you would just do H2. H just means heading. H2, H3, H4, 5, and 6. But for our purposes now, we're just going to do a level 1. And this should be done. You can look at the other settings and mess with them if you want, but this is usually sufficient for what I use it for. So just click OK. And down at the bottom here, it says Jobs 1. That means it's creating the .mobi file. Now it says it's done. And now all we have to do is send it to our Kindle. And so you need to right-click the document, go to Connect and Share, and then email to whatever Kindle you have. So you see here it's sending the email. So email sent. And now here in about 5 to 10 minutes, I should have my book on my Kindle.